Hey everybody, this is Perch, and answering more viewer messages here. Some people ask me, it's like, hey, it sounds like you're answering some of these mails from the car. Are you driving and reading the mails? No, I time it so before I start driving, I read the message on the phone, and then I take off and I drive, or I have done a little bit of editing here. But no, I'm not driving down the road reading the message while recording. That would be insane. Anyway, this message goes, what else can the big two do to turn longtime readers off to buying periodicals? That's an interesting twist on the question. It sounds silly, but I'm not joking. You and others have verbalized many solutions and criticisms that should be seen as action items, but they seem to do the opposite. Have a great weekend. All right. This is a good question. All right. So, what can publishers do to turn off readers? Well, I mean, the simplest, easiest, obvious answer is raise the price. If the price hikes continue, and there's a lot of kind of ominous signs that we are going to get a price jump, or we're about to shift over to the $4.99 for everything, $5.99 kind of zone for comics, because we're hearing more from the Gabriel side of the world talking about distribution and talking about how, printing woes and other kind of stuff. And we're starting to, it's a very similar topic. I mean, remember when Joe Quesada made some comments about, that you're actually it's a bargain. This is, I think, when comics were moving up to $2.99 to $3.99, or maybe somewhere in that zone. And Joe Quesada was talking about you're getting original art, and you're not, though. You're getting mass-produced art, but you're getting full illustrated pages, and you're getting a story that at a low price point that is easily comparable with a Hollywood movie. It was a laughable statement at the time. There's not, by the way, that takes nothing away from the skill of the writers and the artists and people who are coming in and spending their blood, sweat, and tears to build these books. It is very time consuming. It's very tough. And I know a lot of people have made crowdfunded books talking about their frustration with the big two and cost. But if you notice, a lot of those crowdfunded books, like your printed entry point is $25 or $20, and a lot of that's shipping for sure. But it's expensive to produce a book. It certainly should be cheaper to produce it at scale, but I do believe we're getting a price hike. I think we're going to get another one. I think it's going to be blamed on the current situation. It's like, oh, COVID, printing, supply chain, blah, 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 $5.99 now. I think that's absolutely where we're headed. So we can all look out for that. But I think that's going to be one of the biggest ways. Comics are working really hard to price their way out of the market, to turn people away. And I also think there will come this point, and I'd love to say they'll do it, properly, do it right. But I do think we're going to have a moment where there becomes a desire to move people over to digital. And one of the ways they're going to do that is that they're going to price up the printed comics. They're just going to make them more expensive. You're going to get things like, comics are going to ship with all the variant covers in a single, like you get the comic, and then there will be like just the one page of the variants there included in, or you'll see kind of what Marvel's experimented with, whether you've got the director's cut of something and you get the original script printed. You're just going to see more things that are going to be used to kind of say, hey, this comic is more of a, bespoke kind of unique package that you're buying. And so, that's why you pay $10 for it. And if you want something cheaper, you go digital. And I think there's going to be that moment in time where comics the price boosts up kind of dramatically, and or you can go the all you can eat, pay us $10 a month and just get unlimited digital. That's where this is headed, and I think that's going to turn off a ton of people. The other one, I think the one that people probably are wanting me to say or have in their heads is further down the rabbit hole of identity politics and that kind of stuff. Although I would point out, I don't know. It depends, again, on your definition of identity politics and what exactly is encompassed in that umbrella there. But I think when you see things like in the latest Echo Phoenix comic, she's talking about Forge, she's talking to Forge, and she goes, oh, is he mansplaining to me? That kind of stuff, whether you call it politics or you call it bad dialogue or you call it cringe or whatever, or all of the above, whatever it happens to be, that kind of stuff, more of that stuff will turn off readers. Because the reality is, there's a group of people. It's kind of like politics. There's a group of people who love to see that kind of stuff, makes their day. They will tweet about it. There's a group of people that absolutely hate it, makes them sick. And then there's this big group in the middle of just independents or normies. And those people tend to get very allergic to stuff like that. Not because they agree with mansplaining or hate mansplaining, or not because they're weighing in on the culture war or not, but because it feels very repetitive. It feels very unimaginative. It feels like, like, hey, 2016 called it once it's line back. I mean, it feels just old, boring, and uncreative. And one of the things about comics is that it's bread and butter, its core, what it's sold on, is creativity, of the fact that anything can happen in these pages. And instead, if the audience, the viewers, start to get the feeling like not anything can happen in the pages, because what's going to happen in the pages is going to be a lot of kind of nods to whatever the writer was watching on Amazon or Hulu, and if it starts to feel a lot like that, people will tune out. They'll stop reading. And I think I think we're headed there fast. I think that it's just it's there's not comics has always had this problem with restraint. And you see it in things like killing off characters or bringing them back to life, or now it's revealing that somebody is gay or whatever it happens to be. They'll get one idea and they'll put it out, and it will sell marginally well. It will get a bunch of media attention. It will get, for whatever reason, the decision is made inside of comics that it worked. And so then they're like, all right, now let's do it again and again, and now we're going to do it 20 more times. And there's just this inability to show just basic restraint when it comes to a lot of these topics. And so when you get kind of bad dialogue, when you get these kinds of cringy statements, or you get this stuff, much of it comes down to somebody who is, they should know better, but they don't, and instead they continue to double and triple and quadruple down on the same dialogue that people are clearly showing they don't like. I think, this has been said before, but if comics continues to wait, and when I say comics, I mean the creators, the editors, publishers, if they continue to wait what's popular based on what Twitter is saying, then bad things are going to occur. I think that you have this kind of very confused opinion, and I will tell you from talking with both editors and creators, they do have this very locked in their brain that, look, this tweet got all these likes, these retweets, it's working, people love us. There is a very big problem in that they actually believe that what they're seeing on social media is indicative of popularity. And in fact, many people do the math very, very wrong. They'll look at it and go, well, all right, we heard that it's like 1% of the comic buying audience is on Twitter. But if 90% of the attention I get on Twitter is positive, then that correlates to 90% of the group that is not on Twitter. So it's all going to be the same. If people on Twitter liked it, we understand it's a small subset of the audience, but those same people are going to like it in the rest of the world. And so we're on the right track. Keep going. And people live very, very hard in that bubble. The other problem is the fan sites and the news sites actively perpetuate this view. Like some of the X-Men groups that have the X-Men podcast and all the rest, they get fairly insignificant views, far less than this channel. But regardless, the people within the X office treat that as though they're tapped right into the heart of the community. And as a result, they have very, very weird beliefs on what's doing well, what's selling, where the state of actually things are. And I think there's been some wake up calls lately as Comic-Con started publishing numbers again. It's like, oh, wait a second, it's not anywhere close to where we thought it was. Hey, we were under the impression that Excalibur was selling like 150,000 books. Nope, not even close. We were under the impression that Ten of Swords was a massive success. No, financially, no. And again, you don't have to trust me. Don't trust me. Like the numbers are out now. You can go look them up. They're not there. You can go to Amazon. You can look at the top 50. Look at where it sits. Like this isn't, this isn't he said she said, or he said, or whatever you want to do, or he said they said. It is like the numbers are there, printed, that you can go see for yourself, and it paints a pretty clear picture that things are not right. So I mean, what can people do to drive away more customers? They can continue to double and triple down on bad data and listen to the wrong people and take the wrong conclusions and continue to make decisions that are getting people nowhere. But in my mind, what's the biggest thing that's going to trigger that? Price. I think we're going to see a price hike, and I think that's going to be the end for people. I think you will see some people kind of bow to the pressure and go digital, even though they say over and over they won't, but some people will. But a lot of people are just going to pull back on their buying habits entirely. I mean, the tough part for digital is if Marvel and DC successfully make the argument that you can save money by buying an unlimited, like you pay $15, you got unlimited comics. Okay, well, the challenge is a lot of the whales, the people who are coming in and spending like $50, $60 a month, a month or a week, not a month, a week. There are people who spend $50 with Marvel a week in printed comics. Those people are, if you do convince them, hey, I guess I'll go digital, it'll be okay. You're going to lose a lot of money. I don't think the economics are going to work out exactly like people think. I think the belief is a lot of folks who are buying like one comic a month will go to digital, and so they're spending $5, now they're going to spend $15, and so you're going to see that gain. And that worked out for Disney Plus and streaming services because people had drawn back from buying DVDs and physical movies. But comics are not the same. It's not the same economics, and I think that's going to be a big problem. Anyway, there you go. Thanks for the question. Really appreciate it. Hope that gave you an answer you liked, or at least that made some sense. Let me know if you agree in the comments below, and thanks for listening.